Assalamualaikum. Um, my name is Nur Alia Balkis, matrix number 228641 from Group 4. We will be presenting about the comparative study of students' preferences between online and physical classes. So the table of content for our presentation consists of introduction, statement, hypothesis, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, and references. For the introduction, when COVID-19 pandemic introduced students to online learning, leading to many institutions to adopt hybrid or flexible classes. So online classes offers the advantage of lesser wasting of time, and the disadvantage for online class is that students get easily distracted. On the other hand, physical class offers a much more effective learning than online class. So generally, online classes are much more convenient. The important question is online learning really effective to students?
Hello, my name is Nuriza Fauza and my metric number is 230,942. So in this slide represents the hypothesis. So there are two hypotheses that we'll be testing. So the first one is there is no significant difference in student preference for online versus physical classes. The second one is there is a significant difference in student preference for online versus physical classes. So for this slide, I'll be explaining about the methodology. So for this report, a survey was conducted to obtain responses from undergraduate students in various universities. Observations are made regarding their delivery preferences, whether they choose online classes or physical classes, and their reasons. So the survey is done online via Google Form as it is paperless, which helps to reduce paper usage and is the fastest way to gather respondents. So the online form was published on 21st April 2025 via social media, and the apps that we use were WhatsApp and Discord, as people often use their mobile phones nowadays. So for this survey, the sample is only 90 respondents, where 38 males and 52 females from the total population in the world. So overall, 4 questions that relate to the hypothesis have been laid out for respondents. A copy of the survey Google form is attached in the appendix. So for the data analysis, the statistical method used to test both hypotheses is the chi-square method, as it is particularly useful for this type of comparison because it provides us with a numerical result.
Move on to the result and discussion, the analysis representation of questionnaires. So for the number of students that prefer online class, there are 7 male students and 9 female students that prefer online class. So the total number of students that prefer online classes is only 16 students. Next, for the number of students that prefer physical class, there's 31 male students and 43 female students. So the total number of students that prefer physical class is 74 students. Comparatively, students that prefer physical class is 74. The total number of students is 74 students, and for students that prefer online class is 16 students. So this will deny the first hypothesis, which states that there is a significant difference in student preferences for online versus physical classes. So this is the online class rating and also physical class rating. We can see that the for the online class rating, the average rating is 3.37, meaning that most students that join online class has a bad experience. Whereas in for physical class rating, the average rating is 4.37, which is higher than online class rating, meaning that students prefer physical class more because they have good experience in physical class.
So here is the testing one. For the hypothesis testing one. So we use Google Spreadsheets as it is one of the apps that are free to use to test these hypotheses. So there are 3 tables. So the first one is the observed tables, where we actually obtain all the information from the respondents. So here there are 31 male students who prefer physical classes. Meanwhile, there are 7 male students who prefer online classes. So the total is 38 male students. Meanwhile, female students, there are 43 female students that prefer physical classes, and the remaining are 9 female students who prefer online classes. So the total is 52. So to combine all these values together, in total there are 74 students who prefer physical classes and 16 students who prefer online classes. So the total of the students are 90. So meanwhile, the expected, uh, this one, however, we actually use a formula where the row sum times with the column sum divided by total of the students. So therefore, by using this formula and substitute all the values that we have, so therefore we have 31.2 male students who prefer physical classes and 6.8 male students who prefer online classes and still obtain the same total, which is 38. Meanwhile, female students who prefer physical classes is 42.8. Meanwhile, for online classes, we have 9.2 female students and still obtain the same total of female students, which is 52. And therefore, the amount of students who prefer the physical classes is the same as the observed, which is 74.0. And also same goes to the online classes, which is 16.0, which is the same amount as the observed data that we got. So using the chi-square method, and here is the formula where x squared equals to sum of the observed minus expected value uh, to the power of 2 divided by the expected number. So hence we have 0.02 for the physical classes, the male students who prefer the physical classes, and 0.001, which is the number for the female students who prefer physical classes. And then 0.009, where the male students prefer the online classes, and then 0.006, where the female students prefer to have online classes. So this test is actually one of the ways to prove that the null hypothesis is incorrect. So the significance level is 0.05 or 50%. So to find the degrees of freedom, we actually minus the number of rows minus 1 times with the number of columns minus 1. So therefore, we have 1, which is the degrees of freedom. So by applying the chi-square method, the answer we got is 0.019. So meanwhile, the p-value is 0.89. So therefore, by referring to a table, the critical value we have is 3.841. So since the chi-square value we got is 0.019, which is lesser than our critical value, which is 3.841. So therefore, it is proven that there is no significant difference between the observed number and the expected number, which means that there is indeed a significant difference. So physical classes had the highest numbers of students for both genders, which is 74, as compared to online classes, which is 16. So the data above displays the number of students distributed by gender. So the difference in student preference based on genders observed and expected value was not statistically significant, where the value for the chi-square test is equal to 0.019, where the significant level is 0.05. So to prove even more that the null hypothesis is not accepted, so we use also once again the chi-square method, where the critical value that we obtain from the table is 3.841. So we use the chi-square method, and the answer we got is 37.38, which is way bigger than the critical value, which is 3.841. So therefore, the chi-square value is bigger than critical value, which is 37.38, bigger than 3.841. So therefore, null hypothesis is not accepted.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Isiwana Alina binti Nurazamin. My matrix number is 229204, and now I'm going to talk about the hypothesis testing 2. So based on this, we got from our Google spreadsheet is the preference of class deliverer based on years, and we know that year 1 there are 55 of them will prefer physical classes, and 8 of them prefer online classes. That make the total of 63, while year 2 is 14 with physical classes and 3 with online classes. That make a total of 17, and year 3 with 4 people preferring physical classes and 1 with online classes. That make a total of 5, and year 4 is same with year 3, which is 4 and 1, and make a total of 5. So there is total of 90 respondents we got from this Google spreadsheet. So first, we calculate this hypothesis testing 2. We first calculate the expected frequency, which is E, by the times row total times column total and divided by grand total. So based on our calculation, the expected value of year 1 who prefer physical classes was 53.9, and online classes was 9.1. And for year 2, 14.5 for physical classes and 2.5 for online classes. And for year 3, 4.3 for physical classes and 0.7 for online classes. And similar to year 3, for year 4, there is 4.3 who prefer physical classes and 0.7 who prefer online classes. So next, by applying the chi-square method using the formula, we got that for year 1, there is 0.225 who prefer physical classes, and for online is 0.133. And for year 2, there is 0.017 for physical classes and 0.1 for online classes. And for year 3, there is 0.021 for physical classes, and for online classes, there is 0.129. Same with year 3. Year 4 goes with 0.021 for physical classes and 0.129 for online classes. So by continuing our calculation, we sum up the total and we got the critical value of 7.815, and we have the degree of freedom of 3 and significance level of 0.05 and p-value of 0.85. So from here we got that chi-square value was lesser than critical value, which made 0.775 to 0.815. Thus, this hypothesis is not accepted because there is insufficient evidence to suggest a significant difference in preference between online and physical classes based on year of study. So to wrap it up, so let's make conclusion for our report. So to conclude, despite the lack of statistically significant relationship from gender or year, the majority of students overall still prefer physical classes, with 77 out of 90 students. So this preference can be tested with the goodness of fit test, which show that students prefer physical classes over online classes. So this study used hypothesis testing to determine whether students preference for online versus physical class delivery are related to gender or year of study. The chi-square method test found no significant link between gender and classes preference, or between year of study and class preference, which is the p-value is more than 0.05 for both tests. So this finding suggests that demographic characteristics such as gender and academic year have no substantial influence on student preference class delivery modality.